Gabriel Jesus worrying situation revealed by Mikel Arteta. There is a huge boost of Thomas Partey and Bukayo Saka return to the first training team, to the first training sessions of Arsenal. And lastly, Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, huge update, meaning that Arsenal is really going to be having a very huge squad that is going to be taking a visit to the London Stadium down in London. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name. You can as well call me RD onto this channel, and it's always nice having you in here for you. For everyone who is really watching us in, it's always a pleasure to obviously have you onto this beautiful channel of ours. Now, we thank God for the gift of life. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikim, and let's start it off with Mikel Arteta. I just want to start off with a Gabriel Jesus story that he went ahead obviously put out when he was asked about the fitness levels of Gabriel Jesus, and he said the following, that Arteta on Gabriel Jesus' fitness, he said no updates. That's what he said. So I just felt like something is wrong with Gabriel Jesus that he doesn't want to address, because it's very hard for a manager not to say something positive or negative about the player, meaning that the situation in which Gabriel Jesus is in is really very alarming, and it needs what we call a very huge call to rescue, because he's really unlucky ever since he came in through at Arsenal. When he had just come in through, he spent 3 months out, something that hadn't happened to him when he was at Manchester City. Then he later found himself in a situation of really returning, banging in goals. As the season started, he never started with Arsenal. He got back. He went ahead to obviously launch his season by scoring goals in the Champions League. Remember when he scored a goal and created one away in Sevilla, and then he got a knee problem and he got out. Remember, in the game of Nottingham Forest, he also scored one and created one, and then he went off. So this really affects his goal rate. I really thought that he was going to be the main man to come in through and obviously take the side of Arsenal to where it deserves to be by scoring in those goals. And you see to it that he's being missed. Though Kai Havertz is doing the job, but I believe he's being missed. Though he's out, though Kai Havertz is a variable, but this guy is being missed. Trust me, you might not really want to hear this, but Arsenal misses Gabriel Jesus, and this situation looks like it's very worrying, and Jesus is really working hard to come in through, and the knee is really becoming a problem. So however much it's becoming a problem, it really takes loads and 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 loads of everything to see to it that he gets back. Arsenal is missing him, and his tally of goals is being affected. I think this is going to be, the second week without seeing him in action, and it might take some more times to obviously get him back, because that knee looks like it's a recurring problem, and it looks like he might undergo another surgery, and Arsenal don't want to obviously see him really undergo another surgery, because they didn't go ahead to bring in a new striker in the January transfer window, meaning that they need to play him reservingly. Then towards the end of the season, he finds himself going a surgery that will see him really heal. I've seen very many players being disturbed by knee injuries. If at all you know Nazario Dalima Ronaldo, that Brazilian Ronaldo, to me the best player I've seen, or the best centre forward I've seen in the world, he was disturbed a lot by knee injuries. You get? He went to the World Cup of 1998 when he was really having an injury, and he had to see to it that he put in very good performance. He missed out on the fine, I think, when they're playing France because of that injury. When I go to Arsenal, remember Robin van Persie, an injury was one of the hugest problems he really faced in his career. Edson Cavani, he has had lots of knee injuries, and trust me, if he never had those injuries, he would have gone ahead to be one of the best players in the world, because he was a clinical striker. Look at the other guy called Robin van Persie, the knee injury really had a lot to do with him. Remember, even the back injury. So recurring injuries really affect the flow of every player, and it really takes them back a little bit. But I really understand that this is not going to stop for the side of Arsenal. They are going to put in the effort to strike and see to it that everything really goes as planned. Jesus has just gone ahead to score, I think, is he having 4 Premier League goals? Let me check for real here. I want to see what exactly this guy really has, because he has really tried to really get in his numbers right. He has 4 Premier League goals, that is it, and 3 assists. Those are 7 goal involvements. In the Champions League, he has 4 goals and 2 assists. Those are 6 goal contributions. And right now, he's having 8 goals this season and 5 assists, taking his goal contribution to 13. And last season, he scored 11 goals in the Premier League and put up 6 assists. Those are 17 goal involvements that he had, meaning that if it were not these injuries, this man would have been in a perfect position to come in through and take himself to the goal tally that I've always going to talk about, 20 goals a season. And this is really one of the huge problems that are really affecting his tally of 20 that I believe he would have gone ahead obviously put up. But all I want him to see is to return to play in the Champions League for Arsenal, because against FC Porto, I know he's going to score. If he plays in that double tie, he can get like 3 goals out of that, and he can take his Champions League tally to 7, and he'll take his season goal tally to 11. So I think the more Arsenal keeps playing the Champions League and the Premier League when this guy is available, it's not going to be hard for him to really score those number of goals. So remember last season he came back from injury. I think from March, he went ahead to score very many goals. I think by the time he left, he had like 5 goals. He came back and scored 6. So if at all he can really score more 7-8 goals in the Premier League and put up more 4-5 in the Champions League, I think that tally will be good for him. But the situation for him is really worrying, and wherever you are, you have to really put him in your prayers, because he's not okay. Unless otherwise we get a shocker and he's part of the team of Arsenal, but I don't think he's going to surprise us. The players that are going to have to be past fit is Bukayo Saka. Arteta's going to have to let us know that he's been recovering this week and he looks okay. So, meaning that to yesterday and today, he's back into the training sessions of Arsenal and everything is going to go on as planned. And for Bukayo Saka, this season, he has gone ahead to really put in what we call known to the performances that everyone would want him to be putting up. But I think the stats are really coming in through when you look into the Premier League. In the Premier League, Saka has gone ahead to really play 22 games, 8 goals and 7 assists. That is really good for him. 15 goal involvements. Not bad for him into the season. And when you add on his 3 goals in the Premier League and 4 assists, 3 goals in the Champions League and 4 goals and 4 assists in the Champions League, that takes his tally of assists and goals to 11. This season, Saka's going to have to put out 11 goals and 11 assists. Now, if Saka can find himself putting in 20 goals and 20 assists, that is a 40 goal contribution. That is going to be really great for him. And I think he's going to make it. He's going to make it because he has going to have to know what the game of football is all about. Why was this question of Saka really put in front of Mikel Arteta? The reason was simple. This guy had a lot to obviously put up with after the game of Liverpool, because it's hard for Mikel Arteta to take off Saka. If he cannot take him off in these other small games, then when he takes him off against Liverpool, you really get to know that there is a very huge cause as to why that is being done. And obviously there was a reason as to why that was being done, and it was because this guy had gone ahead to really feel something painful out of him, and he was taken off. Then Reece Nelson was brought onto the field of play. So confirmed, Saka is back and they're going to play against West Ham, and this is where his efficiency is going to be needed a lot when they're playing against West Ham. So Saka is back And I think you guys have every reason to celebrate his return, because I know Arsenal fans really love Bukayo Saka a lot. The other boost comes in through from Thomas Partey. Arteta on Thomas Partey's fitness. He says he's progressing really well, but it's a bit too soon to tell you exactly when we are going to have him back. That's what he really went ahead to say, that it's really hard to talk about his return, but he's progressing really well. Remember last time I told you, Arteta confirmed us that there was a setback in this guy's performances, and the setback was brought all about by him trying to get back into the first team, and he got a setback, and Arsenal don't want to obviously mess around with Thomas Partey. And I think the plan of Arsenal is now simple. Even if he doesn't return, but let him keep fit, such that when they are selling him to a certain club, he doesn't fail the medical. That is it. Because Arsenal have those midfielders that can take them to the next level. You saw it against Liverpool when Jorginho came in through and did the job. So if at all you're having Jorginho, you're having Declan Rice, I think they can do the needful. All what Arsenal need to do is to see that the likes of Fabio Vera return. Because if Fabio Vera returns, competition is going to be immense in that midfield, with Emile Smith-Rowe trying to force himself into that team. Then you really understand exactly what it means for a player like what's the name? For a player like Fabio Vera to return. So I think the midfield of Arsenal is really doing great, and it's gonna really do a lot of stuff. And I think they're missing the software of Fabio Vera, but I know very soon Fabio Vera is gonna be back in action and really do the needful. But Thomas Partey is back, but we don't know whether Arteta is gonna name him, but it feels like he's working around the clock or against the clock to obviously return. But the game of West Ham might be really an early thought of him to return, and he might maybe show up when Arsenal is traveling to FC Porto. You know, next week Champions League is back, you know, but I think Arsenal is going to be playing the other week, right? So wait and see how that pans out. But it looks like Thomas Partey is back, and the boost has been really put around by Mikel Arteta, and they want to see to it that he gets fully fit and really gets back on the field of play. But even if he returns, I've seen Arsenal fans saying Thomas Partey would act better in that midfield. I've always told you that a manager like Mikel Arteta has shifted on to players who really pass that ball better. You know, they combined with physicality, and they're really good at really making recoveries. You know, that's why you see to it that he was wanting in Caicedo, you know. And everyone who says that Thomas Partey is a good player, I tell you, if you can't be available, you can't be good. I'm fed up of people coming out and claiming how good Thomas Partey is when he's rarely available. That doesn't make sense, you know. I'll tell you, let me give you an example of a player who wasn't readily available but came in through and obviously changed the season of Man City, I think for 2 consecutive seasons. That is Ilkay Gundogan. Season of 2021-2022, you see what he does in the remaining 4-5 games for Man City to lift the trophy, you know, and win it over Liverpool. Last season, you saw what he did in the FA Cup final and in the remaining games of the season to take them to where they deserve to be. So Thomas Partey's importance will only be felt if at all he comes in through towards the end of the season and really does a lot that will put Arsenal into the trophy winning position. If he doesn't do that, then his importance will cease to matter, because we've all along said he's a very good player, but he's not available every time his team needs him. So that doesn't make you good enough. You know, he's talented. I really value him as a talented player, but if you are not available, then your goodness does not help the team. You get? Lastly, on Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, he said, we have a few in contention. They've been evolving really well. So tomorrow we'll have another training session. We are hopeful we are going to have a few back, and that we can put out a very competitive squad out there. So Zinchenko was taken off when Arsenal was beating Liverpool. He only played 45 minutes and then they brought on Jakub Kiwior to play into that beautiful fixture. And everyone was asking what was really wrong with him. And for me, I really thought that it was all about the way Liverpool was gonna target him in the second half, because Arteta knew it that Jurgen Klopp was now going to target Zinchenko because of his defensive deficiencies, you know. And he really read that well, because Jakub Kiwior is solid, he's hard, he's fast, and you cannot really bully him like they were planning to bully the side of Zinchenko. So I don't think that Zinchenko was really injured a little bit, though it was really just a cover-up, but I think he's available. Then Tomiyasu returns from the Asian Cup and is readily available, and they're planning to give him what we call a new contract. That is Takahiro Tomiyasu. So Tomiyasu is really working well, and I think his return is really great, because sometimes you feel like when you're playing against West Ham, you shouldn't start Zinchenko and you should start Tomiyasu onto the left back position. All else, you even bench Benjamin White a little bit, because he has been playing very many games and he needs a rest to get everything going and going and going. So guys, thank you very much for watching through, telling me thoughts about Jesus worrying situation confirmed by Mikel Arteta. What do you make about it? Should he undergo any surgery? Or you should obviously bring him in, plays like 2-3 games, then he spends some 2 weeks without playing, and then at the end of the season he undergoes a surgery. But I think that might even cause him damage, you know, for that injury to become recurring. I saw Anton Martial, that's how he really broke down. And what do you make about Zinchenko, Tomiyasu return, Partey, Saka return? I sign out for now. See you later, and may the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokani David remains my name. And we out for now, and we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Bye-bye for now.